Kim Kardashian. Okay, look, it's a name pretty much everyone on the planet knows, right?
Absolutely. Instantly recognizable.
But what people think about her, well, that's all over the map.
Definitely.
So today, forget the quick takes, the headlines. We're going to really dive deep. We want to figure out how she went from, that reality TV star to this huge business center in beauty, fashion, and now this voice in criminal justice reform. It's quite a shift.
It really is a massive transformation, actually. And we've looked at a bunch of sources to try and unpack it.
Yeah, we want to understand the strategy, the pivots.
Yeah.
What was really driving this whole evolution?
It's not just like one career after another. It feels more like layers, different phases, all connected somehow.
Exactly. So let's set the stage a bit. Kimberly Mole Kardashian, born in L.A., 1980. Her background is, well, it's relevant.
Definitely. Wealthy family, very well connected.
Right. Father, Robert Kardashian, obviously famous
Yeah.
from the O.J. Simpson trial. A big-time lawyer.
And her mother, Kris Jenner, who later became, the powerhouse manager for the whole family.
So she grew up with siblings, Courtney, Chloe, Rob, Kendall, Kylie, in Beverly Hills. Private schools immersed in that Hollywood world.
That exposure right from the start, you have to think it gave her some kind of understanding of fame, of how that world works, even before she was in it herself.
Maybe even how to handle public attention, given her father's experience.
Possibly. Yeah, maybe some early indirect lessons there about scrutiny, the legal side of things. Maybe seeds planted for later, who knows?
Okay, so before keeping up, before everything really exploded,
Yeah.
she wasn't just, waiting around. She worked as a stylist.
Right, for celebrities. Most famously for Paris Hilton.
And that's interesting, isn't it? It's not just working. It's like getting a backstage pass to celebrity culture in the early 2000s.
Totally. Learning the ropes, seeing how public image is built, making connections. It's like an apprenticeship in fame.
She was seeing the mechanics up close.
And she also worked for her father's company for a bit after he passed away in 2003.
All right, maybe less glamorous, but that practical business understanding, probably useful down the line.
Some grounding in, like, the basics of running things.
Then 2007 happens, the leaked tape.
Yeah. A huge turning point. Obviously a very difficult personal situation.
Absolutely. But the response,
Yeah.
that's what's fascinating from a strategic point of view. Instead of hiding,
They leaned in hard.
they launched Keeping Up with the Kardashians that same year. It's wild to think back now how quickly that show just took off.
It really was a masterstroke in controlling the narrative, wasn't it? Taking a potential disaster and turning it into this launch pad.
And right away, Kim was the star.
Oh, undeniably. The breakout, her look, the fashion, this sort of confidence. She just drew your eye. People were hooked.
But she didn't just stay reality star. Almost immediately, you see her thinking bigger, building actual things.
Right. Moving into business, the early stuff like the perfumes, the Dash boutiques with her sisters.
Those felt like the first steps, maybe testing the waters,
Yeah.
translating that TV fame into products people would buy.
Exactly. Learning about retail, product development, marketing, all that practical experience, seeing if the name alone could sell things.
He was building that bridge from persona to product.
And those early ventures, maybe not billion-dollar empires yet, but crucial learning experiences.
And alongside this, she was very consciously crafting her image.
Oh, hugely. The style became so specific, so recognizable.
And crucially, embracing her figure, her curves. This was at a time when the super skinny look was still very dominant in fashion in Hollywood.
That was a really big deal culturally. She sort of gave permission or maybe reflected a desire for a different body type to be seen as beautiful and aspirational.
Yeah, she connected with a lot of women who didn't see themselves represented. Became a symbol of body confidence for many.
That feeling of authenticity, like she was comfortable with herself, was key to building that loyal fan base, made her a trendsetter.
Okay, so that foundation is laid. Then come the empires. KKW Beauty in 2017.
Instant hit. Huge. Capitalizing on that makeup look she was known for, especially the contouring.
She basically taught a generation how to contour via social media, didn't she?
Pretty much. And then Skims in 2019, which felt different, more ambitious, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't just another celebrity brand. It tackled shapewear, but with this focus on inclusivity. Tons of skin tones, broad size range.
And it just exploded. Multi-billion-dollar valuation very quickly. That's not just luck.
No, that's serious business.
Yeah.
It shows a real understanding of a gap in the market.
Absolutely. It addressed a real need for comfortable, inclusive basics and undergarments. The inclusivity wasn't just talk, it was baked into the product and marketing. Smart business.
So how did she do that? What are the strategies behind that level of success?
Well, first off, social media. She's a master. That direct line to millions, even billions of potential customers.
Unbelievable reach. And she uses it constantly, engaging directly.
Converts followers to customers like almost no one else. Plus the branding, the packaging.
Yeah.
Always meticulous. Creates that sense of quality, aspiration.
Builds trust in her taste, right?
Exactly. And, she's incredibly skilled at weaving her personal life into the brand narrative. Marriages, kids, breakups. It all keeps people invested, keeps her relevant.
Even the negative attention. She seems remarkably good at navigating that.
That's a huge part of it. The criticism has been constant, hasn't it? But she rarely seems rattled, publicly anyway.
Stays focused on the work, on the businesses, and over time, you see this grudging respect build, even from skeptics. People start acknowledging her as a serious businesswoman.
That resilience is crucial. Not getting derailed by negativity, just keeping the focus on the goals. It speaks volumes about her determination.
And behind the scenes. The sources suggest she's not just the face. She's making smart moves.
Oh, yeah. Hiring good people, making strategic deals, protecting the brand legally with trademarks.
And dipping into tech. Remember the Kim Kardashian Hollywood game?
Right. It was massive. A really savvy way to diversify, reach a different audience, engage fans interactively. Huge revenue stream, too.
It shows she's thinking beyond just fashion and beauty products.
Yeah.
Looking for different angles.
Definitely a forward-thinking approach to brand building.
Okay, so then, maybe late 2010s, we start to see another shift, a pivot.
Yeah, this is maybe the most unexpected turn, moving beyond business and fashion towards law and justice.
It caught a lot of people off guard, I think. Felt like a new chapter starting.
It suggested maybe a desire to use that massive platform for something different, something beyond commercial gain.
And it really crystallized with the Alice Marie Johnson case, didn't it?
Absolutely. That felt like the catalyst. A grandmother serving life for a nonviolent drug offense. Kim learned about her case and just ran with it.
Used her huge profile to shine a spotlight. Tweeted about it, talked about it.
All the way to the White House. Met with the president.
And Alice Johnson was granted clemency. That must have been incredibly powerful for Kim, personally.
You have to imagine seeing that direct, real-world impact of her advocacy. It likely solidified something for her, made her want to do more.
Which led to the decision to actually study law.
Right. Not just advocating, but getting formally involved.
Yeah.
Choosing the apprenticeship route in California, which is, not the typical path.
It requires serious dedication, hours of studying dense legal texts, learning the system.
And facing a lot of public skepticism, people questioning her motives, her ability.
The whole baby bar exam drama.
Yeah.
That preliminary test for apprentices.
Yeah.
She was very open about the struggle with that.
But she persisted, passed it. It showed real determination, I think. a willingness to put in the work despite the noise.
It challenged a lot of people's perceptions of her, for sure.
Definitely suggested a level of intellectual curiosity and commitment that maybe wasn't always visible before.
And all this is happening while she's also raising 4 kids. North, Saint, Chicago Psalm.
Yeah, that's another whole dimension. Managing these huge businesses, studying law, and being a very public mother.
The sources mention her focus on values, kindness, respect, hard work for her children, wanting them to be proud of her, not just for the fame or money, but
For the effort, the intellectual side, trying to help people.
You do see that connection to her father, the lawyer, coming through there, perhaps.
It seems plausible, yeah. A desire to maybe honor his legacy in her own way or find that same sense of purpose he might have had in law.
It adds another layer to understanding her motivations for pursuing law.
And balancing it all. I mean, the stress must be immense.
She talks about it sometimes, the juggling act, the self-doubt, which actually makes her feel a bit more human.
Right. Sharing those struggles online, it kind of demystifies the process. Makes the idea of reinvention seem more attainable for others.
Like, if she can pivot and learn something totally new while doing all that, maybe I can too.
Exactly. It's an inspiring message, intentional or not, about growth being possible at any stage.
So, stepping back,
Yeah.
what we see is this incredible arc. Reality star.
Then entrepreneur, building these massive beauty and shapewear brands.
Then mother in the public eye, navigating all that.
And then student of law, advocate for justice reform.
It's quite the journey. Using that platform she built in one sphere to gain entry and make noise in a completely different one.
And consistently using social media, not just for selling products, but increasingly to talk about these broader issues. Criminal justice, mental health.
It's a long way from where she started in terms of public perception, at least.
Absolutely. It demonstrates this real capacity to adapt, to learn, to shift focus, leveraging influence across wildly different domains.
And it really does push back against the idea that you have to be just one thing, doesn't it?
Totally. It shows that reinvention is possible, that you can have these diverse interests and pursue them seriously. Power, confidence, business, advocacy, they can coexist.
She's become a symbol of that possibility for a lot of people, especially younger women, maybe.
Her path challenges those neat, tidy boxes we often put people in, especially celebrities. It's more fluid, more dynamic. You can redefine success for yourself.
And her cultural impact generally. It's undeniable. Fashion trends, beauty trends.
Solidifying the whole concept of the influencer, making it a central part of modern culture and commerce.
And the whole Kardashian-Jenner family. They remain this dominant force. Reality TV, business, it's an ecosystem.
It really is. They changed the game in terms of celebrity entrepreneurship, monetizing their lives, and building this interconnected web of brands, a phenomenon in itself.
And looking ahead, it doesn't seem like she's slowing down.
Not at all. Skims keeps expanding partnerships with sports leagues, things like that.
The legal studies continue. There's talk about maybe wanting to open her own firm eventually.
Yeah, focusing on helping people who can't afford representation. That would be a major next step, really solidifying that commitment.
And still prioritizing her kids, teaching them about purpose, gratitude.
While still being pretty open about challenges, which continues to make her relatable despite the extraordinary circumstances of her life.
So wrapping this up, we've traced this really complex path. From reality TV fame to building serious businesses to this deep dive into law and advocacy.
It's a story of strategic moves, adaptation, leveraging incredible fame for evolving goals, and ultimately, constant reinvention.
The key themes seem to be that strategic thinking, the willingness to change, using influence in unexpected ways.
And just the sheer possibility of transforming your public identity and your professional focus over time.
It definitely challenges our assumptions about celebrities, about success, about purpose. Shows you can pursue deeper meaning even from a position of immense fame and scrutiny.
Which kind of leads to a final thought for you listening. Maybe you reflect on your own assumptions about public figures. How can influence be used in ways you don't expect?
And maybe even think about your own life. Are there possibilities for change, for pursuing different passions that maybe you haven't considered? That capacity for reinvention we all have.